I'm not going to say this man needs no introduction because he deserves an introduction better than I can give, but Bernard Bloch is a master at putting poets together to perform. I don't know how many of you know that, but it's a talent that he has, an ear that he has, aside from being a wonderful poet himself. And he runs a series right here in this space 3 times a year, and he'll tell you about it briefly when he comes up, but you should try to catch that. And I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to introduce Diane's husband, Bernard Bloch.
The series is from Whitman to Ginsberg, poems that challenge conventional wisdom. And the next one's in February of next year, then May and September. Okay, this is poems that are aligned with the theme south of the border. And we're going to start off with Ecuador. Now, this is about a child, Noemi Alvarez Quille, and stories were written about her in early May of this year, and this poem came out of it. And this is her story. I'll give you a little background. She was born in Quito, Ecuador, and at the age of 2, her parents left her with her grandparents in Quito to make the treacherous and dangerous trip to America. They made it over the border, got to New York City, to Queens, worked for several years, got their green cards, and then paid smugglers thousands, maybe tens of thousands of dollars to get their child to come to them with the help of the smugglers who were called coyotes. So Noemi, this was her second attempt to do this, started out from her grandfather's shack with a backpack on her back, took on a bus to meet the first of many smugglers or coyotes who took her through the deserts and forests of Central America and Mexico, where she had to hide in trunks of cars, crawling through tunnels, and subject to abandonment, kidnapping, sex trafficking, and so on. She made it to the border of the Rio Grande and was picked up by the Mexican police, put in detention in a detention center in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. And this is her story. Noemi Alvarez Quille. Noemi Alvarez Quille, 12 years of age, hung from a rod in the bathroom of a shelter in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. She started her 6,500-mile journey from the shack of her grandfather in Quito, Ecuador, across dirt roads that cut through dry cornfields. Noemi hung from a shower rod, staring past the shanties in Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, staring at a photo of her mother and father, calling her to come to them across dirt roads, come to their home in the city of Queens, city of gold fields. Noemi hung stiff as a rod, roaming cross fields with coyotes outside Ciudad Juarez, Mexico, roaming with a photo of her mother and father, black wing of the condor, hovering black roads, wing of the condor, hovering over city of gold fields. Some say Naomi is a rod of iron, an iron wall outside Ciudad Juarez, Mexico. The call of coyotes, call of mother and father, roaming with coyotes over black roads, riding wing of the condor past the city of gold fields. Now, this next poem, we're going to Cuba now, and this is, again, inspired by Terry Batts, who gave me a beautiful book called Cuba with photographs by Jeffrey Millstone. He bought this book a couple of years ago when he was traveling in Los Angeles at the museum there. And the book of photos came out in 2010. They were taken in 2004 and 5. And this is not about the politics of this situation, but the places, the tenements, now dilapidated, elegant buildings, calles, warrens, plazas, walls, the faces of the children, men, and women of Cuba. The title is See the Woman of Useless Thoughts. See the woman who has nothing, must invent everything. Past the pink and turquoise of Camagüey, past the orange and green walls of Trinidad, chipped and faded, past the pastel apartment blocks lining Havana's Malecón, worn by years of ocean spray. She is the Cuban woman leaning out a window by the Malecón, waiting uselessly, seeing how time passes and nothing happens. She must prepare rice and beans for her children who do not matter, for the film of dust always there, for the barges drifting the bay, for the tread of clouds and moon moving in orbit, pulling the tide, pulling the woman past the barges, past the bay, till she becomes a moon moving in orbit. See the Cuban woman leaning out the window, waiting uselessly, seeing how time passes and nothing happens. Now we're going back to Ecuador, to the rainforest. Now this is a homage, a paean, hopefully not a dirge, to this nature's miracle of adaptation and harmony, rainforest. These are Mayan melodies. Green birds reel, swoop down the rim. Scale Ecuadorian byways. We dream gazpacho beyond the steaming gulch. Past the canyon of 8 echoes, the tundra of 7 scorpions, sand dunes, icy moons, ramble shacks tipped helter-skelter, ancient monsoons. We freeze, eclipsed by mariposa wings. Butterflies paralyze the frozen sun, dazzle tomorrow when the rain rises. And finally, this is a persona poem in the voice of a male chauvinist who speaks Spanish, Italian, Spanglish, English, the language of musical notation, and the language of cooking. To his monologue of thunder, the woman is more eloquent in her silence. It's called Fantasia Scalapina. You peel onions over the grate, misterioso. Shrimp and deviled sauce, you're still furioso. Por qué? Yesterday was fettuccine appassionata, then you threw me out. Por qué? Por qué? Que insulto. It's been lasagna burlesca since we met. Cellos and frijoles. Puccini con mucho parmesan. You thought I would hit you? I simply raised my voice. Forte, forte. What's the crime? Forte con carne. I'm a man, manicotti. You're mixing gall on the grill. Golo capriccioso. When the dentist leaned over, you thought he was seducing you. Mezzo macaroni. Pizzicato with sausage. Por favor, let me touch your enchilada. Si. Alla mariposa, rondo cacciatori, si, ravioli e fughe, ciuletta fritta, si, spumoni, andante, Saraman.